reason being, that there is a deep state
Yes.
that is active in the United States, as there are deep states in other parts of the world. And, sometimes they are on their own trajectory, and they are not controlled. But, when Mr. Trump has come, he has said that he is going to take very strong action against the deep state. But, and I think going forward, since Pannoon case, since you mentioned it specifically, Pannoon case is a judicial case. So in the Department of Justice, this will go on. But otherwise, all these issues of the so-called alleged democratic backsliding or minority rights, etc., I don't think they are going to see the light of the day, because Mr. Trump has said it very clearly and categorically in his earlier avatar that he doesn't have much time for these particular aspects. So I think these social aspects, social issues, and what is the agenda, what some people call the woke agenda or the liberal progressive agenda, I don't think that is going to receive much focus during the next 4 years.
Yes. Now, when we are talking about the woke agenda, the liberal agenda and all, so while expecting the pressure, whatever pressure has built up to ease, isn't there a problem in the nature of the Trump administration itself, in that when we look at the US administration, apparently, I mean, that is what we hear. Of course, we do not have any personal experience of that the departments, they all work in silos, and particularly the State Department is a beast unto itself. Now, we have seen in the last time when Trump was president, there was a lot of pushback against him from within the state itself. One of the reasons why there was, there is this perception of chaos happening in the thing. Now, do you think, now when we are talking about, Trump's next 4 years, if the administration, will he be in a position to control the possibility of disruption that may come from departments like State and Justice in particular? Because until and unless he has cleaned his own house, it is going to be difficult to take foreign policy with any country, with a country like India specifically, which I keep hearing that the State Department is totally against India. Will it be possible for him to control his departments, his administration, to ensure that the relationship with India can go up to another level, given that there are so many saboteurs there?
Okay, let's put it this way. Let's look at Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0 and what is the difference. I think the difference, big glaring difference is that when Trump came in 2001, the election in 2016 and came in 2017, he was not really in control of his own party at that time.
Yeah.
So there were divisions within his own party. There were fissures within his own party. So he had literally his hands tied, to his back. He was not able to operate freely. Today, what do we see? Today we see a trifecta. Today we see that, Trump has
Senate, House,
has the Senate, and most likely he's also going to be having the House also, which is going to be Republican. So there is going to be no one that will be in a position to challenge him. And I think the manner in which the whole, his campaign has evolved over the last 4 years, and the manner in which he has conducted himself, it is not that the Republican Party and its ideology defines Trump, but it is Trump and his ideology that defines the Republican Party today. And I think that is going to be reflected in what he does in the Senate, the decisions he takes, the House, and also, mind you, that even as far as the judiciary is concerned, so, he's the executive, the legislature is totally under his control, the judiciary is totally under his control, and you would have seen the latest decision by the Supreme Court in July of this year. They have said they have really given him carte blanche, that he can do everything in pursuit of his position as the President of the United States. And he has immunity from being, tried or charged. Even you'd recall the January 6, 2021 cases. Even those were turned down that, you cannot hold the president responsible because all decisions that might have been taken, they were in pursuance of his official position. So I think he has complete control. So what you mentioned about Department of Justice and some of the others, I think there we will see some changes, we will see some reforms, and as I mentioned earlier, he has promised to go after the deep state. So I think as far as the obstacles that are concerned, there are going to be other obstacles of the nature of, his transactional
Yes.
attitude, and because he thinks that he's the master of the art of the deal, and he is,
What about the trade aspect when it comes to India-US relations in this context?
That's exactly what I was referring to, that, meaning those are the issues that could prove somewhat problematic as far as India-US relations are concerned. But I would like to submit, for your and your viewers' consideration, that India today is a much bigger economy. It's a much bigger player on the international stage. Its capacity has grown. At that time when Mr. Trump came to power in, first, it was maybe India was 8th or 9th largest economy, because 2014 we were the 10th largest economy. Today we are the 5th largest economy, fastest growing major economy in the world, and going to be the 3rd largest economy. So I think India has greater agency, India has greater capacity to be able to interact with the United States in that sense. And if there are trade issues, last time also we did have trade issues. Basically, it is the trade surplus that India enjoys, not a very significant one, just about $30 billion in goods and services. But even last time, I recall very well that, at that time the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, he had gone to the United States. We had bought large quantities of LNG, and we had bought many more aircrafts from there, so that we could shrink the rather non-significant trade surplus, trade imbalance that we had between the two countries. And I'm sure this time also we should be able to do something similar. Also, I would like to suggest that, even last time we were discussing minimum sort of FTA, not a full-blown, not a full-fledged FTA, but
there was some talk about a free trade agreement.
Mini FTA, and we couldn't do that because his term finished. But I think on certain items which are of interest to the United States, which are of interest to India, of course making sure that our core interests in the area of agriculture, in the area of dairy, they are not impacted upon adversely. I think we can look at that, because after all, the United States is our biggest trading partner. At times it keeps switching places with China. But China, of course, for obvious reasons, we don't want to have an FTA. But United States being a large trading partner, I think we need to have an FTA with them. And we can have a step-by-step process where we have a mini FTA and then keep on expanding, keep on, depending upon the experience, we keep on expanding on it. And India has shown its capacity to be able to negotiate good FTAs with the United Arab Emirates. We had an FTA which is working extremely well, and we negotiated it within a span of 82 days.
Right.
And then even with Australia, we have had a good FTA. So I think we should make efforts to move in that direction of having a mini FTA with the United States also.
So when we are talking about specifically strategic terms, strategy, security, which direction do you think this relationship will take? What are the areas that we can look forward to? Which are the aspects that are going to be highlighted during a Trump presidency in the next 4 years?
I think one is in the area of defense, definitely. The United States has emerged as possibly the second or the third largest defense supplier. And what we have brought it, made it very clear to the United States is that we do not want a purely buyer-seller relationship. We also want transfer of technology. You would recall that during Obama's time, we had signed the Defense Trade and Technology Initiative. Nothing came out of that because I think, because of a mismatch of expectations on the two sides. So I think right now we have made a beginning with when Prime Minister was in the United States in last year in June. We signed a deal, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited signed a deal for GF414 aircraft engines for our Tejas aircraft. So I think that is a beginner, and that's a beginning. And that technology has not been shared by the United States with even its NATO partners.
Yeah.
So I think that is really an indicator of the level of trust between the two sides. So one is in terms of defense cooperation, both trade and technology. The second, I would say, is high technology, because high technology, critical technology, emerging, these are the areas where India wishes to establish its strong position. So whether it is semiconductors, it is artificial intelligence, it is green energy, green hydrogen, it is robotics, it is quantum computing. I think the number of areas are expanding by the day. It's really difficult even to keep a track of all the new areas that are emerging. So I think that is definitely one area where we would like to